All right, welcome. So we just wanted to take a little time and talk about some of the things we're going to be doing. I won't repeat the things I said earlier, but this really is a spectacular trip, and we're really trying to make this something special. We know there's a lot of people interested in it. We've had a lot of questions and a lot of comments, and we know a lot of people have Alaska on their bucket list. So we're going to try to put together the best trip that we can. There is a survey on the app, and I'll kind of walk you through that as we talk today. But if you could help us with that, we would greatly appreciate that. So here we are. Next year, July, we'll be in Girdwood, Alaska. It's not much of a town, just a little ski town, but the hotel is really cool. We're probably going to open this up in October, again, just because we need to get final numbers so that we can finalize our contracts with these different folks. Now, these are more of our pictures, right? Yeah, these are our pictures. These are not things that we pulled off the internet. You can kind of get an idea of what's in and around the Girdwood area. So we're arriving. So again, officially arrival day would be that Wednesday, which I think is the 7th. Tuesday is the 7th. But our suggestion is come on Tuesday. It's a long way to go. We're gonna hit it right away on Thursday. Thursday's gonna be a big day, and a lot of the flights get in later, Alaska time, and better to come in. Yeah, it's 4-hour time difference. Better to get in, rest a little, and then we'll really hit it hard on Thursday. Anchorage. So Anchorage is the biggest city in Alaska, the biggest airport. That's where you want to fly into, unless you're doing different types of excursions, which we'll talk about later. It's about a 50-minute ride from Anchorage to where we're going to be staying, and different options there. You can certainly rent your own car, which we'll talk about, but I think we're also going to work on having shuttles and things to get people from the airport to the hotel. Go ahead, you can help.
Just to give you some options coming in addition to John's incredible trip that he's put together for you guys, you can take a cruise if you want to add a vacation since you're flying to the other side of the country. If you want to get a cruise out of Vancouver or Seattle, you can end in Whittier or Seward, which is very close to where we're going to be. You can take, at the end, a cruise from either of those towns back down to Seattle. You can fly into Fairbanks. You can drive down. So there's a lot of options of how you structure your before or after. So I just wanted to add that you can think about incorporating those in as well.
That's right. There's a lot to do. Alaska.org is a great resource. I mean, there's so much information on that website for different areas of the state, different things to do, and in some cases they even have vendors listed to contact and whatnot. So I would check that out. I think Carrie's flying into Fairbanks, for example, and then there's a train you can take down to Girdwood. That kind of thing is very popular. So if you're thinking of taking train rides through Alaska, you want to start planning that now as soon as possible. There's some information on the registration fee, what we think it's going to be, again, and that's what it covers. Now, again, that picture is real. That's our picture. I don't remember what we were doing, but as we came back, this fella had wandered into the pond behind the hotel, and that's just Alaska. I mean, if you've never been there, Alaska is wide open wilderness, and I think that only like 1% of the state has been developed. So it's beautiful everywhere you go. This is arrival day. We'll have a simple reception for the folks that get in early enough. If you hopefully you're coming in Tuesday, but if you get there on time on Wednesday, that's great. And then we'll have an optional twilight event at the spa. They have a really cool spa there where you swim in the cold pool, get out, jump in the hot tub, that kind of thing. It's neat. And temperatures probably be 40s at night, maybe 50s most days, maybe some days might hit 60. I mean, there's some variation there, but in my 2 trips there, it was pretty consistently those temperatures. So Thursday, day 2, our real start day. What we want to do, and what I would recommend you try to do, is the first option here, the cruise. We'll drive down to Seward. We'll bus down to Seward. It's an hour-and-a-half ride, hour and 45 minutes. It's a beautiful drive. And we'll take a 6-hour cruise out down here to these Kenai fjords. And the scenery, again, is spectacular. The glaciers, some of the glaciers come right down to the water, and they'll actually take us down one of the fjords. And when you get to the end, they'll get you pretty darn close to that glacier. And all of that by itself is beautiful. But when you throw in the wildlife, the whales, the seals, the sea lions, I've probably seen, between the 2 times I did this, I've probably seen 30 killer whales, 8 or 10. Okay. There you go. There they are. Sea lions, otters. It's just spectacular. The eagles, we saw a black bear, sheep. And I'm blanking on the big whale, the humpback whales. Yes.
Those big ones.
Yes. So it is. It's really neat. But we do go into the Gulf of Alaska, and I know some people, no matter what they do, they're going to get seasick, and so that's why we've also got Plan B over there, which is the Glacier Discovery Cruise. Again, that's more of a glacier cruise. Probably less wildlife. Tay went on that. She did see a humpback whale. She did see an otter, but I think that was it. But they swear that that's calmer. So again, a cool cruise. I do the first one if you can, but if folks are interested in Plan B there, we'll look into doing something there. So this is the big cruise, the one you want to try to do. There's your highlights. It's worth it.
And that will probably like the boat, so it'll just be us.
Yeah, and that'll probably be us. They have different size boats. I think their biggest boat, they could hold 180 of us. So that would likely be our cruise, just us. And that will not be the case with this Glacier Discovery Cruise. And you can see some of the pictures there. Again, it's all beautiful. So that's Thursday. And then when we get back to the hotel, we'll just have a simple buffet dinner. Look, it's going to be a long day. Be on the bus for about 4 hours, and we'll be on the boat for about 6 hours. So we'll feed you when you get back, and we'll do everything we can to get some of these Iditarod dogs and someone to come and talk about us, because that's really a fascinating race. And the dogs are cool, and usually they have puppies, and hopefully they'll bring the puppies to us. And that's included. Thank you, Tay. I didn't have a doubting Thomas on this, but I did have a doubting Tay until she went, and now she's all in. So day 3 and 4, Friday and Saturday, this is what we're calling our adventure days. So if you look on the app, the first question we ask you is to pick between those two cruises we just talked about. The second question is what you're going to do or what you want to do on Friday, and we list all the activities there. So helicopter ride is number one on the list. You want to try to do this. I know it's expensive, but it's worth it. They will fly you up to the glacier. You get out, walk around the glacier, and there's Tay's picture. This is on top of the glacier, and you can see the little river running through that. They also have, we didn't do it, but I think you can go up there and dog sled, right?
The dog sledding
We talked to them when we were there. The dog sledding is actually, you go up to the top, very top of a mountain that has a glacier on top of it. And they keep their dog sled teams up there all summer. And so you'll go up, you'll go dog sledding around, you'll get to see the glacier on top of the mountain and then fly back down. Alternatively, you can just take the flight through the mountain ranges to the glaciers, land on the glacier, spend some time there, or fly back. And you can combine them if you really want to get adventurous. So.
Yeah, we really can't tell you how beautiful this is, just being up in the helicopter. I'm sure some of you have seen Hillary's and Tay's videos, but as beautiful as they are, they really don't do it justice. Yes, sir?
That's your picture again?
mine, yeah. On my iPhone. It doesn't give it to us.
Another option, and again, to me, this is a super cool thing to do. So we're going to take a train. So we're going to be pretty remote. Like I said, Girdwood's not very big, but we're going to take a train from Girdwood to even more remote territory. You can only get there by helicopter or by train. And so we're going to take the train and then take a bus, and then we'll end up here at Spencer Lake. And now this is a glacier lake. You can see the glacier in the background. The glacier's melting, and it's created this lake. It's like 600 feet deep. Nothing lives in there. And you can see the pieces are breaking off. And so these broken off pieces of glacier are floating around this lake. So we're going to take a raft ride on that lake. You get close, but not too close, because obviously they say that the biggest part of the glacier, these pieces, is what's underwater, and you certainly don't want that to be next to that if it happens to fall over. But again, this is, if you can, I would recommend this, because again, this is just a unique Alaska experience. I mean, this is the kind of thing, this is why you go to Alaska, and don't worry, you don't have to row. The guides will do that for you. This looks like fun. It's just an ATV thing. We did not do it, but it just looks like a whole lot of fun. So that's an option for your adventure day. We found someone who's willing to take folks on a photography exploration. She says she knows how to find moose. So if you want to walk around in the wilderness in a small group, maybe 5 or 10 people, if we've got people here that are into photography, that might be something that's worth your time. Electric bike ride, bike tour around Girdwood. Option 6. So there's things to do at the resort. There's hiking trails in the back. The ski mountain is behind the hotel. You can hike up the mountain. They say it takes about 2 hours. It's not too steep. Can they do the mountain biking when we'll be there? So the mountain biking will be open when we're there. And again, I've already mentioned the spa. Friday night dinner. So up on top of the mountain, there's the Seven Glaciers restaurant, and our goal is to rent out that space. So we'll just have an event up there on Friday night. There's a tram that'll take you to the top of the mountain. They call it Seven Glaciers because, well, at least you used to be able to see 7 glaciers all around the mountain, but it's now down to 6. But again, the views are spectacular. And this is part of your registration fee. There's also an Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. We are going to do an event there, and because we're doing an event there on that day of the event, which is Saturday, any of our members will be able to go there for free and just check out the animals they have there. It's cool. I mean, it won't take you long to get through it, but you know, the wolves, the brown bears, the black bears, a lot of things to see, and then we'll have a dinner there Saturday night. Limited space on that. And there's plenty. So you can walk around and look at the animals on your own, but they also offer side adventures. There's a bear encounter. Not sure what that involves. There's like we did the walk on the wild side tour. We fed Twix, the porcupine. There's an opportunity to feed a moose, those kind of things. So those are listed on the app, and then more details on the website. But that's worth seeing. This is where, same place, this is where we'll have a dinner one night. And then, so Tay mentioned this, there's a lot of things to do in Alaska. Like last month when I was there with my family, we drove up to Denali. It's about a 4.5-hour drive, and then spent a couple days there, and then went on to Fairbanks and left from Fairbanks. You know, Denali's beautiful. I mean, it is. But honestly, you know, within my family, the unanimous vote was that they would pick Girdwood over Denali. So that's good news. I leave it to you whether you want to explore all of that. You can go to other towns. You can go to Anchorage. You can go down to Homer. I think those towns offer like these bear viewing flights where they'll fly you out to the river where the bears are feasting on the salmon. I've heard that's cool. It's very, very, very expensive. But again, if you're going to be in Alaska, you want to look around, you want to see what else you can do in addition to the things that we have planned for you. Same things with fishing, whether it's river fishing or, you know, fishing out at Seward or Homer. There's plenty of opportunities for that, and plenty of national parks spread throughout Alaska. Am I done? So that's it. Sure.
What is the elevation?
So that's a good thing. So the hotel is at sea level. So when we go up onto the mountain in the back, you know, the mountain's only 2,800 feet high. So folks shouldn't have to deal with, you know, altitude sickness and that sort of thing. Yes?
Can you send us this slide?
Yes. Yes.
We're recording this too. We'll send this note. Yes, just leave it.
Can I
John,
talk? Go ahead.
if I missed this before, this is Arlene. I'm over here. If I missed this, can you send us a list of appropriate clothes that's suggested we bring?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. You know, probably once we're past registration, you know, I'll send out emails, informational type things. You know, like I said, 50s, 40s, 50s, but it is a rainforest. So you do want to be prepared for rain. You want to have a rain suit, a poncho that covers you, because we didn't really, layers are important, that sort of thing. I mean, there are days where it's a little warmer than not, but I think both times I was there, I did get rained on a little bit, not significant, but when you're stuck outside in the middle of a lake and it's drizzling, you know, 20 minutes of that, you're gonna be wet, and then you're gonna be cold.
John, what are the transportation modes available from Anchorage to the resort?
Yeah.
I looked that up for John. So there is a shuttle that runs hourly that goes directly from the airport in Anchorage to the Girdwood Hotel. So it literally drops you off at the door of the hotel. And I think it's $50 per person. You can also rent a car. It's a very easy paved 45-minute drive that is super simple. There's a very large parking lot at the hotel that you can park at. There's also a train if you want to take the slow route because it goes back through the back country. You can take a train from Anchorage to Girdwood. I think that's probably it, but you have a lot of options.
Okay.
You can come from other places. The train goes on from Girdwood to, you can either go to Whittier or to Seward. So if you're coming the other direction, the train or the cars run from there as well.
Thank you.
I think the train ride was like an hour and a half from Anchorage to Girdwood. So it is the first stop after Anchorage on that. I think it's if you guys happen to watch the Today Show third hour, Al and Dylan actually landed in Anchorage and stayed at the Alyeska Resort, and they took the train. And so they have, I don't know if you can go back to their segment, but they take the train there, and I think it was about an hour and a half.
And it's a scenic train.
It's a scenic train, yes.
Tay, I never missed the third hour of the Today Show myself. What do the flights look like? Are we flying into Seattle? Should I be looking for flights from, kind of Miami to Anchorage?
It just depends what airline you like to fly. I mean, usually when I go west, I fly United. So I think the first time I went through Houston, and then the second time I went through Chicago. So it just, the airlines do it different.
Alaska flies out of Tampa, and it's a great airline.
Okay,
That's cool.
that's good to know.
Sandy, there's a direct from Tampa to Anchorage?
No, but you can probably fly, Tampa, Seattle.
So like I said, you don't have to rent a car, but we did. And, in 8 days, we probably put 800 miles on that car. We'll get you where you need to go. But, if you like to, spread out on your own from where we are, then I would think about that. Obviously, there are some local Alaska car rental companies, and if you're going to do that, I'd probably look at them first as opposed to the national ones. Yes, sir.
Yeah, John, I'm afraid to ask, but what was your experience with telephone and internet connections?
With what?
Telephone and internet connections. Do they exist at all, or here or there? What was your experience with that?
So I'm T-Mobile, and so they treated it as if I was in Canada. So I had so much, it worked great up to I didn't have unlimited. I had 5 gigabytes or something like that. Even with my wife and 3 kids, we never hit that. So we were fine the whole time.
3 kids?
Yeah. 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 Well, yeah, at the hotel you'll have Wi-Fi and stuff, but when you're out and about. I mean, look, some of these places, if you go out to Spencer Lake, there's not going to be any cell service out there.
And there shouldn't.
But otherwise it wasn't bad.
That's right.
Nice satellite.
So, John, I've got a question. And Barbie and I are both interested in taking family members on the trip. And when you go on an Alaskan cruise and you look at the expeditions, they have pretty good descriptors on exactly, how mobile you have to be able to go on that trip. And some of them will say, yes, fully handicap accessible. Others will say you need to be able to walk a mile. Others will say you need to walk 2 blocks. Who would be the right person to work with to get a little more detail on that kind of thing for these expeditions so we can figure out the mobility requirements on it?
Tay could figure that out.
Okay.
She just volunteered. I wasn't volunteering her.
Okay.
They're on all the websites. I can just
Yes.
When does the survey close? Do we have a couple days to think about it?
Hillary, did we figure that out? Where'd she go?
So Jeremy said that it's on the app to continue working until forever, right?
Yeah, so the survey's through FormStack. So it's linked on there. So the survey is available until we don't want it to be available.
Are you just asking like when we need to know?
From a budget perspective, I would like to know as soon as you reach a conclusion. But the reason for the survey is so that when we contract for those spots, we know we're contracting for the right amount. And I think we plan to try and have those contracts coming in around the beginning of October. So I'd really like to know by the beginning of September or so it's not an obligation that if you sign it, you owe us that money. I just want to make sure, as an example, the helicopters, they're $550 a spot. And so if we're going to make sure there's availability, because all of those cruises are coming in and they are doing these activities. So we want to make sure that you guys have those activities, but we don't want to end up with 7 helicopter spots that nobody wants. And then we can't resell them because we won't be able to sell them to the cruise people. We would have to just eat them. And probably that's one thing I should say, is just to keep in mind when you're signing up, the helicopters have 3 seats. And when we buy a helicopter, it's the pilot and 3 seats, we have to buy that helicopter. So you may end up that you might not be with your spouse or with someone else. And if that's a deal breaker, we kind of like to know that, just because we can't leave that seat empty. And that could be something that would end up. They all kind of go to the same place, but you might be in a different helicopter. So just to let you know.
So 2 questions. Building on that, if we have children, are we going to be assured of being on the same helicopter with them?
At least one parent with one kid.
Okay, that's fine. I can give up one of the kids. It'll be fine. And so the other question is, when will the due date to confirm and pay? What is the timing on that?
Well, October, we are hoping to open registration.
Okay.
I think we talked about January being, you will be asked to put a non-refundable small deposit, just so we know you're serious about it. But the actual payment, we're not going to make you do until probably January.
Oh, okay. I just meant for to commit, not just do a survey, but to commit to the activities.
Yes, we're going to try and have you commit in October.
Okay.
Okay. And one thing to add, sorry, Peggy, before I forget, there are some activities that are restricted with ages. And so we do have to, if you want to, you can let me know, I can go through those. Like, for instance, at the Wildlife Conservation Center, there's certain tours that you can't do unless you're 12. There's certain tours that you can. The ages do differ on some of them. And for mobility, some of them, like you would expect when you're out in the wilderness, to the glacier float, that's a little different than an actual boat that's leaving a dock. So
There's a phrase that's recurring on your list, and it's transportation, optional transportation. What does that mean? Do you have to get there yourself?
no, that means that we're planning to have buses, and that's one of the reasons we want to know what people want to do, because the buses are pretty high demand in Alaska. And so John was originally working with Stacy, who then contacted someone in Alaska to do a destination event company, and that destination event company's proposal came back at about 5 times the price of what we could Google on the internet and get the same thing for. So that's why you have me, because then John said, wait a minute. So I'm helping Hillary kind of take the place, Hillary and I are taking the place of the destination event company. For instance, the boat, we think with transportation, renting the buses, sending you on the boat, on the 6-hour boat, and bringing you back should cost around $395. They wanted $895 for that same trip. So we need to coordinate all that together, and so that is just why it's transportation optional hopefully will be provided, because we're trying to incorporate all that into the price. We're hoping that when you arrive at the resort, you basically won't have to have a car the time you're at the resort. So until the bar's trip ends, you should be able to get to whatever the adventures we have listed without using your own car during that time period if you don't want to.
Oh, thank you.
Tay is saving you hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars by doing this. Yes.
John, where's the survey? I'm showing
So you-
my lack of computer technology.
So if you're in the app, there should be. There
You
should
can
be
find
five-
it on the
five
app, but we-
buttons. Yes.
And the reason we put prices there is I just wanted you to realize there are some things that are going to be, just by the nature of them, pretty expensive. But there also are less expensive alternatives. I don't want anyone to think they can't go and they're going to have to spend $1,000 a day no matter what they do. That's not true. There's a lot of things you can do. You can go for a hike. Some of the best hikes in that area leave right from our hotel. The electric bike tours are pretty inexpensive. The restaurants around Girdwood are they're really good restaurants. I mean, we had a couple that were excellent and pretty reasonably priced. So it doesn't have to be a super high-end trip. It can be if you want it to be. I will tell you that I agree with John. I was a naysayer when he said the helicopter. I was like, John, that is way too expensive. There's just no way. Hillary and I decided at the last minute to do it the last day, and it was 100% worth every dollar. So there are just things, if that's your bailiwick, these are once-in-a-lifetime things.
So she's right. You don't have to do the things that we're suggesting. You could just come to the hotel, hang out in Girdwood. I mean, Alaska is so wide open and so undeveloped that, when you're in Girdwood, everywhere you look is beautiful. So you could come, hang out around Girdwood, and you're going to certainly appreciate the beauty of Alaska. Yes, Angela.
Here, who needs the box? Okay. Well, she's got her phone. I wasn't going to ask her to catch it with one arm.
I need clarification, please, because I don't think I caught it on the first go-around. So there's a helicopter to the glacier, and there's a helicopter with a dog sled. So you don't do both. You pick whether or not you want the dogs or you just want the helicopter, right?
You can combine them, but you have to.
Okay, well, that's where I'm confused when you say you can combine them. Isn't the second option already combined?
No, they're separate. We charge you for both.
Don't you have to take the helicopter to get to the dogs?
No, it
Yeah.
says
So
helicopter.
there's different trips that the company offers, and they take off in the same airport, and they land on this mountain that there's a glacier on top of, but it's more dog sledding. So the purpose of that is to go dog sledding, and then they take off and they come back down and land. You can then go ahead and take off again and go in another helicopter to the glacier, but they don't do both together.
So if I want to do the dogs, I don't see the top of the glacier. And if I want to do the glacier, I don't see the dogs.
You still see a glacier. The dogs are on what they call a glacier, but you don't see the expansive, like, I don't even know how to describe it. You come over we flew past the dog glacier site, and it was maybe a 5-minute helicopter ride from the airport. And as you keep going, you go over a mountain pass, and it opens up into this unbelievable scenery of as many glaciers as you can think of out there. And then they pick one to land on. And so then you spend 20, 30 minutes walking around on the glacier, and then you come back. So that's about a 30-minute flight out there. You spend about 30 minutes in the glacier, and you come back 30 minutes. So they're really two distinct trips, but you can do both, but you have to go back to the airport and then come back. And just the form that I made up is designed for you to pick an activity or one or more to do on Friday, and one or more to do on Saturday. There were just too many things for people to squeeze in, so we decided to have 2 adventure days. And I tried to put the times on them that they would be there. So some of them are all day, but like for instance, the helicopter is only an hour and a half. So you could do the helicopter in the morning and still do the glacier float in the afternoon if you wanted to stack those together. So you can fit in more than one in a day, or you could decide that one wild adventure a day is enough. So
What's the story with the day 4 dinner? The at Bison Hall, was that on? Maybe I just missed it.
So the day 4 dinner is the only dinner that's not included. Bison Hall can only hold 130 people. And so we made that an optional dinner. What it will be is at the end of the day, you'll take a bus over to the Wildlife Center that's about 20 minutes. Yeah, 20. John got a speeding ticket on the way there, so took him a lot longer because he had to stop. But you will take a bus to the Wildlife Center. I'm anticipating we're going to have buses just driving around robin and dropping people off, so you can go earlier whenever you get back from your adventure. You can go over, you can walk around for a while before dinner and then go to the dinner. They don't have any on-site catering, and so they have to bring it all in from Anchorage, and their hall only holds 130 people. This is not set up for really large groups. And if that's not something you really want to do, it's 7 to 10, it's going to be a long day. There are local restaurants in Girdwood that you can elect. At that point, you're sick of us, you just want to go do something on your own. That's perfectly fine. There are shuttles that leave from the hotel and drive around the town of Girdwood, so you don't even need a car at that point in time. There are no Ubers, so you're not Ubering anywhere. But there's shuttles that are taking you places, and so that's the only, essentially, other than lunches, that's the only optional meal that isn't included. And John didn't describe his on top of the mountain thing well enough. I was also skeptical when he gave me the price of it. I was like, John, you go up on top of this mountain, and it is a Michelin star restaurant on top of this mountain. It is an amazing view. I would equate it to standing on top of the mountain in Keystone or Vail and looking back over the lake. It is phenomenal, and you get to take the tram ride up. When we rent out the restaurant, it includes the tram, which justified the cost budget-wise to me, because the hotel would charge you $40 to get on the tram and go up. So you don't have to pay them $40 to go up any other time because you'll get to see it. It's light almost 24 hours a day, so we're going to shut you off and send you down because you will forget it's 11 o'clock, and we want you to get up the next day. But it definitely it's a phenomenal experience.
What day is that day?
That is, I believe, Friday night? Yeah, Friday night.
So that's day
Day 3.
3.
We didn't want to do it the first activity day when we were doing the boats. We just thought that was too long a day.
That's not Bison Hall.
That's not Bison Hall. Bison Hall is at the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center.
Okay, so the dinner that you were just talking about is included in our registration fee?
Yes.
Thank you. That's also where I was headed with that.
I know.
Yes. So the first night's, the Thursday dinner, when you return from your boat rides, you're going to be tired and maybe wet and, done with being out. That's a nice warm dinner in the hotel, in the conference room. We'll probably hopefully have the dog sled dogs outside. You could relax, have a drink, have a buffet dinner, get yourself adjusted. You're still on, it's going to be your first or second day being 4 hours behind. I have an advantage. I'm only an hour behind when I'm out there, but you'll be 4 hours behind. You're going to be tired. And then you can go to bed. The next day you get up, you have on Friday whatever adventures you choose. And that night we're going to be at the top of the mountain. Saturday you'll get up, have whatever adventures you choose. And that night you have the option to join us at the Alaska Wildlife Center, or you can yourself go out and have a big dinner of Alaskan king crab. You can go to one of the local restaurants and enjoy their outdoor music or barbecue, whatever you want to do.
Yes.
That picture was a picture I took from the helicopter as we were coming over the passes. back. Yeah, I think we were coming back in that picture. And from the helicopters, we saw bear running across the mountains, and we saw a group of moose that were just hanging out on the side. Like, it is amazing.
All we have, right? So that's all we have, but we'll certainly stay and answer any questions.
Well done, guys.
Thank you. Doubting Tay. You like
I
that?
was doubting that.
We're studying bear.
Yeah. Really? Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's fun.
The bear